One of the biggest mistakes I think women make when they get into serious relationships is that they start working around the man. And I'm not talking about compromise. I'm not talking about being considerate of your partner. I'm talking about completely reorganizing your life around another grown adult so that everything in his life runs smoothly while yours slowly becomes chaotic. And this is also for same sex couples, but I primarily talk to heterosexual women, so that is why I'm using his and her. You start thinking about what he's going to eat, what time he wants to eat, what he's doing at the gym, what his schedule looks like, what he needs from you, what he's going to complain about, what might upset him, how to keep the house exactly how he likes it, how to make sure he has everything he needs. And before you know it, you're not really living your life anymore. You're managing his, and you have become his manager essentially for free. And baby, you don't have to do that. You should never do that. In fact, I want women to understand the difference between having a relationship and building your entire life around a man, because I didn't even know this. I just thought I was in a normal relationship, and but it was my mothering kicking in because the man was falling short. He was allowing it to happen. Because those are two very different things, having a relationship and building your entire life around a man. You can love somebody without making them the center of your existence, and you can live with somebody without becoming their personal assistant. You can be a supportive partner without becoming responsible for keeping another grown adult's life functioning. And let's be for real, a lot of, if not all women have definitely at one point in time or another made sure that that man's life was functioning. That's why he wasn't doing anything. That's why we're so burnt out now. And sometimes this starts off so innocently. It was like that with me. He decides he's going to become a gym bro. Now suddenly you're meal prepping every single day because he needs his protein. He's counting macros. So now you're calculating his meals. He wants to eat 6 times a day. So somehow you're the one responsible for making sure he has his meals. And then they're going to dress it up as you're being supportive on the table every night. Okay. But who's cooking? Who's cleaning? Who's grocery shopping? Who's washing the dishes? Who's planning the meals? Who's doing all of the invisible labor that makes his little fitness transformation possible? Because if the answer is you, while he's contributing very little to the actual labor of the household, you're not being supportive anymore. You're working around him. And a lot of men have been programmed. The patriarchy has promised them to have a woman that works around them, to have a woman that revolves her life all around him. They have been promised this. They're so entitled to women's time, women's body, women's labor. The patriarchy has promised this to men. And if you don't give it to them, they try to bash you. They try to put you against their preferences, or they get a new preference and say, well, this I like dating such and such because black women don't such and such. They love to come for black women, especially the black men. And that's the part I want women to catch. Because you can convince yourself that you're just being a good woman, you're being loving, you're being helpful, you're being a good partner. But I promise you, meanwhile, you're exhausted, you are resentful. And if you aren't now, you are going to be very resentful. I talked about this in a video last week, the rage phase. You're going to be overwhelmed and wondering why you don't have time for yourself anymore. And it's because you've made his needs the default priority and he does not mind. And it doesn't stop at food. You start working around his schedule. You stop making plans because you don't know what he's going to want to do. You stop going places because he doesn't like them. If he don't like a certain bar or restaurant or brunch spot, okay, well then he needs to find somewhere else to go, and you're going to go to that spot when you want to go there. If it's a certain thing on the menu he doesn't like, he needs to order something else. I'm telling you, ladies, it seems so minuscule, but it's not. It seems like it's nitpicking, but it's not. This is how you get caught in the trap. I'm trying to protect you from that, especially my young girls. A lot of us older women have been through this, and we already know how to not get caught up in that trap again. You change your routines because his routine takes priority. You are becoming the one remembering everything: his appointments, his clothes, his meals, his responsibilities, his family events, his preferences, his moves, and eventually you don't even ask yourself, well, what the heck do I want? Am I gonna want to eat here? Do I want to eat this for dinner this week? Have I packed all my stuff? There are women that pack their husband's suitcase for vacation. And you're going to start asking, well, I need to figure out what works for him. That's the problem. And there's another one. You don't have to make yourself smaller to make a relationship easier. If your career is taking off, you don't automatically have to sacrifice your opportunities because his life is inconvenient. You better never do that. If you want to travel, you don't automatically have to stop because he doesn't want to. You never do that. If you have hobbies, friends, routines, goals, or ambitions, those things don't suddenly become less important because you got into a relationship. Matter of fact, you need to amp those up to make sure you keep yourself at the forefront. A healthy relationship should have room for two people's lives. And if it don't, then it definitely need to have room for yours. Not one person's life with the other person orbiting around it. That's not how it goes. And this is exactly why I want to connect this back to the Betty Broderick conversation that I just did last week. If you haven't seen that video, go find it. Because when you look at Betty's story, one of the things that stands out is how much of her life became centered around supporting her husband and the life they were building together. She worked around his career. She supported his ambitions. She helped create the lifestyle. She contributed to the family and the household. She was working 3 jobs while he was in school. He went back to school. She built around the relationship. And then when the relationship changed, when he got up there in his career, he graduated school, got those degrees, she was left confronting just how much of her identity, her time, her labor, and her life had been invested into that man and that marriage and their family. And obviously, her story is extreme, tragic, and much more complicated than simply saying she worked around her husband. But that lesson is still worth examining. Never build your entire existence around another person. And for my women with kids, you don't even build it around them, especially when they get older, because they're going to go off and you're going to be sitting there like, well, what do I do now? Because this is why you never build your entire existence around another person. Right. I'm sorry for even throwing kids in there because I love to stick to the topic and I don't want to get sidetracked. Because people can change. They will change. They're going to change. Relationships change. Circumstances change. And you need to still have a life when they do. You need to be protected when they do. Men are 9 times out of 10 going to change. She was with that man before he got a degree. After a man gets a degree and starts making more money, you can bet they are going to change. She should have been getting her degree with him. He went to school and got his degree. He told her he wanted to go back again and get it in medical or something. She should have told him, no, let me go and do something now while you hold down the bills and stuff. And then once I get my first degree, you can go back and just interchange it like that. I'm not blaming her at all. So please don't ever mistake that because y'all already know how I feel. I'm not blaming her about that at all. I'm just saying that could have been a better way of doing it. And now that we see that situation and how it unfolded, that's something you could do if you're doing it. If you are in this type of situation, you get your degree first. In fact, don't even let the man go get his degree first. You get yours first and let him work and hold down the house. Because who's to say he won't get his first degree and just leave you anyway? He's making enough money now. And you still need to have a life when these circumstances change. That's why I tell women, don't abandon yourself in the name of partnership. Don't stop saving money because he handles the bills. Don't stop developing your career because he's doing well. Don't stop maintaining friendships because you're in love. I'm using air quotes here. Don't stop taking care of your appearance because you're comfortable now. Don't stop pursuing your hobbies. Don't stop learning. Don't stop dreaming. Don't stop building. And most importantly, don't become so accustomed to accommodating him that you start thinking your own needs are an inconvenience, because that's how resentment starts. You keep giving, you keep adjusting, you keep making things easier for him. You keep telling yourself it's okay. No, it's not. Until one day you're sitting there thinking, when did my life become about making sure this man is okay? When did my life just disappear like this? And you're going to be asking yourself, how did it happen? When did it happen? Life just flew straight past you. And that's when you realize you've been working around him instead of building alongside him. There's another lesson here for women who are dating casually or allowing someone to pursue them. You don't have to start accommodating a man just because he wants access to you. Let him fit into your life. Don't immediately start rearranging your life to make his access to you more convenient. You don't have to cancel your plans because he suddenly wants to see you. You don't have to change your schedule every time he calls. You don't have to become endlessly available. You don't have to prove that you're easy to deal with by having no boundaries. Let him learn how to exist within your life too. Because if the relationship only works when you bend, adjust, sacrifice, and accommodate and compromise, that is not going to be a partnership. It's not a partnership. That's one person being accommodated by another person. And I really want women to stop confusing that with love. Love does not require you to disappear and to sacrifice that much. Commitment does not require you to become someone's architect or infrastructure. You're building for them. And being a good woman does not mean making life effortless for a man while life becomes harder for you. So here's the life lesson. Stop working around him. Build your life, build your routines, build your career and your friendships and your finances and your body. Build your confidence, build your identity. And if a man comes into that life, let him add to it. Let him contribute to it. Let him make room for you the same way you're expected to make room for him. Because the goal isn't to find a man whose life you can perfectly accommodate. The goal is to create a life where you don't have to abandon yourself to be loved. And if your relationship requires you to constantly sacrifice your peace, your time, your goals, your money, your friendships, your routines, your identity, just to keep a man comfortable, baby, you're in the wrong partnership. You're working a shift, a full-time job, and you don't get a medal for making yourself miserable. You're not going to get a 401k for doing that. Just because somebody called it love, that means nothing. This is Pretty Girl Rich Era, where we heal, level up, and become the best version of ourselves. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, loves.